Hi, I'm Stu from Hive Automation and welcome back to the Hive. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at integrating some Matter over Thread devices into our Home Assistant and comparing them to the native integrations if they exist. This should hopefully be a relatively quick video, just demoing a couple of different pairing mechanisms with these Matter accessories. So while I roll the intro, why don't you take a moment to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you get notified when I release new videos, which is normally each week. While you're at it, if you like what I do here and you want to support the channel, there's some affiliate links in the video description to smart home gadgets that you can buy for your own smart home and support the channel at the same time without it costing you any extra. Or you can support the channel directly through my Buy Me a Coffee link. Of course, affiliate links and my Buy Me a Coffee link can all be found on my website, hivemindautomation.com.au. With all of that out of the way, let's get started. So in a previous video, we went about combining our Home Assistant Thread radio with OpenThread border router to my existing Thread networks that I already have in my home. The whole point of doing that was so that we'd be able to set up our Matter over Thread devices in Home Assistant and then set up some automations in Home Assistant for them. One of the compelling things about the Matter Smart Home Protocol is this concept of MultiAdmin. MultiAdmin allows us to share accessories across different smart home ecosystems and then control them all with low latency and all of the same features, regardless of the platform that we're controlling it from. This then means that there's at least two ways to connect a Matter accessory, which I'm going to call owner and guest. I don't actually know if that's what the spec calls them, but it's what I'm going to call them for now. And the owner connection, as the name suggests, is generally the first connection to the accessory. It's the person who has first bound the accessory into the Thread network. And we've seen this process in Apple HomeKit videos before when I've paired Matter accessories. That owner pairing sets the device up on the Thread network and binds it into the smart home platform that it's paired with. Thanks to the cross-platform compatibility, that owner pairing can be on Apple HomeKit, Google Home, Amazon Alexa, Samsung SmartThings, or Home Assistant, and quite possibly others that I can't think of. The guest pairing is where the idea of MultiAdmin comes into play, and that's where the accessory itself is already enrolled into a smart home platform and bound to the Thread network. But MultiAdmin then lets us add that same accessory into another smart home platform and give us all of the same controls over that accessory. That guest pairing could be from another setup on the same platform or from a different platform. And the other thing here is that you share these accessories one by one. Now, I think I've mentioned before that this then would theoretically mean you could have a shared living situation where each person has their own smart home configuration, and whether that is HomeKit, Google Home, or Home Assistant, it wouldn't matter. Each house member could add all of the shared space accessories into their individual smart home configuration so that they can then control them from their own devices and smart speakers. So for example, one person might have Google Nest devices, another person might have Amazon Alexas, and another person might have Apple HomePods. So in that circumstance, everyone would still be able to control the devices without a whole lot of additional overhead. And then they could configure the devices in their private spaces into their smart home configuration without sharing them to their housemates. Now, in my case, I'm not so much interested in MultiAdmin for privacy, but I am interested in for the sake of convenience. One of the reasons I got into home automation and Home Assistant all those years ago in the first place was because we're very much an Apple household and we use Siri and HomeKit. We had some accessories that weren't HomeKit compatible. And that became a problem where we weren't able to integrate those accessories into HomeKit and use the good night scene when we called that scene with Siri. As much as Home Assistant has solved that problem for me and many others, passing incompatible accessories through to HomeKit from Home Assistant can sometimes be a little bit hit and miss. With Matter and MultiAdmin, I can easily set up an accessory directly in Home Assistant and build out a complex and nuanced automation, but I can then also share a Matter compatible accessory with Apple Home and use them in my Siri scenes. So enough about the why, let's get into the how. And I'm going to start off with an owner pairing of a Matter device into Home Assistant. And I'm going to use this and Nanoleaf light bulb to do it. Now I've already reset this Nanoleaf light bulb and I've got the Matter pairing code on the side here. I'm just going to plug this into power and I'll put it over on my B camera here so we can see it. I've got a couple of other accessories we're going to join a little bit later on as well. So we've got our light bulb here and I've got the Matter pairing code facing up. So what I'm going to do on my mobile phone here in the Home Assistant companion app, I'm going to click on the hamburger menu over on the left side, hit settings, go to devices and services. So we're on our demo instance here. I'm going to tap add integration and I'm going to tap add Matter device. And it's asking, is your device already added to another Matter controller? I've got either no, it's new, or yes, it's already in use. In this case, I'm going to tap no, it's new, and it's going to give me a prompt to scan the code or hold the iPhone near the accessory. So I'm going to scan this Matter pairing code. We've got a light that we can add to Home Assistant, and it is now connecting. And this may take a few minutes. It's setting up. Okay, it looks like it has pulled the light in. We can give this light a name. I will go demo Nanoleaf and tap continue and light added to Home Assistant. We can go done. So we've got the device info here and we've got controls. But what I might do just now, I'm going to go to settings over on my laptop. We'll put the phone away for the moment. We'll go to devices and services. And we'll head over to our Matter integration, and we've got one device and 3 entities in there. We click on the one device and we've got controls. So we've got a light in here and we can turn that off and on, and that's nice and responsive because the thread network is nice and strong around here. And if we open that up, we've got our brightness and we've got our preset colors here. And we've got our color controls with the color wheel, and it's reasonably responsive. I'm really happy with that responsiveness. It's pretty great. If I turn it off and on, that's working really, really well. We've got some configuration items in here as well, such as our on level is 254 and our on-off transition is 0.1 seconds. We could change that if we wanted to. We could make that 1 second. And if I now turn that off, it's going to take a full second to turn off and a full second to turn back on. Something else that we've got here is this share device button. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back over to my iPhone. So what I want to do here is tap share device, and it's going to enable commissioning mode on the device to pair it to another Matter controller. So I'll tap share device, and we've got a code here, a QR code. What we could then do is have someone else in the house scan this QR code and add it to their own smart home fabric. But if I copy this code now, so with that code copied, I'm going to head over to my Apple HomeKit, and I'm going to tap the plus button here and then add accessory. And I'm going to tap more options, and I'm going to tap my accessory isn't shown here and enter a setup code. And I'm going to paste the setup code that I copied and tap continue. And we've got accessory add to home. And this may take a few minutes. It's setting up. And the light location, we can choose, I'll just use the Hive testing grounds. We'll tap continue. It's naming it Essentials A19, A60. That's the default. I'll call this Nanoleaf demo again, and we'll tap continue. And we'll leave all of these automations off because we would probably be using Home Assistant to do the automation. So I'll tap continue. Light added to the Hive, done or view in home. I'll tap view in home, and we have all of the normal controls we would have from HomeKit. So we can turn it off or on and change the percentage. There's the quick control there, and the quick selection of our favorite colors. As we normally would in Apple Home, we've got the name, we can change the room, add to home view, include in favorites, group with other accessories, which might be handy in some cases. We've got suggested scenes as well here. So this is where we would add it to our good night scene to turn it off. And then it is in that scene. We can include it in our home summaries. We've got our connected services there as well. So manage the services that can access and control this accessory. I believe this is because it's a shared Matter device. We've got the 4939 and the Apple Home there. We've got Nanoleaf, so we can go to the Nanoleaf app, and we've got the manufacturer details there, and we've got turn on pairing mode here as well. So we could actually turn on pairing mode and share it again from here to another smart home ecosystem if we wanted to. So with that Nanoleaf light paired into Home Assistant, we've got full control over it, and everything is working perfectly fine. Now for guest pairing, what I'm going to do, I'll get rid of this Nanoleaf light for now. Now for guest pairing, I've got a couple of different accessories here. I've got my Eve Energy smart plug, I've got my Eve door and window sensor, and my Eve motion sensor here. Now I have already set these up in the Hive testing grounds. So we've got Eve Energy there, which I can turn off and on. Our contact sensor is currently open, and if I hold a magnet near it, it should change to closed. There we go. And occupancy is currently detected because of motion. It's just changed to none. There's also a light sensor on that Eve motion there. So if I move in front of that Eve motion, we get occupancy changes to detected. So now what I want to do is I want to share these Matter accessories with Home Assistant. So I'll start with the Eve Energy, and I'll go into accessory settings. And we can ignore most of this stuff here, but if I go to turn on pairing mode and copy the code, I can then pop over to Home Assistant, and we'll back out of the light bulb there, the Nanoleaf light bulb, and I'll tap Add Integration, Add Matter Device. Now this time, instead of going No, it's new, I want to tap Yes, it's already in use. And we get to choose which controller it's connected to, either Google Home or Apple Home, or there's other controllers as well. I'll tap Apple Home, and I'm going to paste the setup code in there, tap Done, and then Add Device in the bottom right-hand corner. It's adding the device, and it may take a minute or two. Okay, with that device added, we can see now that we have controls, and we can switch that on. And we've got some diagnostic data there as well. So the other thing I should probably mention here, we've got Eve Energy 20 ECF in the top right-hand corner. I can tap on the edit button in the top right-hand corner and just change the name, so Eve Smart Plug, if I want to, and then assign it to an area such as utility, and then we can update that. We'll rename all of our entities as well. So now we've got our device info. It's a routing end device as well. So that Eve Smart Plug will also extend my thread network, which is great. And we've got the share device button there as well. And manage fabrics, re-interview device, view thread network, ping device, and download diagnostics. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to head back over to my laptop here, and we'll see we've got our two devices in here. So we've got our Essentials A19. Now Eve Smart Plug, I'll open up the Eve Smart Plug, and we'll just see here we have on and off, and it's quite responsive. I'm really happy with that responsiveness. Let's just do a quick latency test. It's almost imperceptible, a delay. It's certainly less than half a second. Really, really quick. The great thing here as well, we've got our current, our energy, and our power, and our voltage measurements here as well. Because the Eve Energy is a smart plug with energy monitoring, that energy monitoring is now available in the Matter spec. So we're going to do that a couple more times now. I'm going to quickly go back over to HomeKit. I'll just do these really quickly. Okay, so that's the Eve door. I'll just change that to Eve contact, and we're done. Update and rename. and we'll back out here, back over to HomeKit, go out, go to the occupancy sensor, and this is the turn on pairing mode here. So this is my Eve motion. We'll copy the code. Okay, and we've got our Eve motion there now as well. So if I just back over on my laptop, drill into Eve contact, we've got door closed and we've got the battery diagnostics. I can grab that little magnet and we get open, and that was really quick to respond. Closed, open. That's super quick. I'm so pleased with how responsive that is. That seems more responsive than it is in Apple Home. So I'm really quite stoked about how responsive that is. And if I go back out here and go to the Eve motion, our occupancy is detected and our illuminance is 54.5 lux. Its occupancy is now clear and then detected when I moved my hand in front there. And our battery is currently showing at 40% there. Now that motion sensor does clear quite quickly, which is something you might want to look out for. So you see it took about 15 seconds from the time that occupancy was detected to the time that it changed back to no occupancy detected. So we'll just watch for that. Yeah, so it's about 14, 15 seconds that it is in a triggered state for. So something to look out for if you're using one of these motion sensors in an automation. But now we have all of these Matter accessories paired into our demo instance of Home Assistant. The great thing here is if I want to now add this Eve contact sensor into my production instance of Home Assistant, I can just share this device, grab the pairing code, and then add it over into my production instance of Home Assistant, and they will work together perfectly fine. Like all of the communication will happen, everything will get updated at the same time. So something that is worth mentioning here is that when we're doing these Matter pairings, we do need to have the phone that we're using to handle the Matter pairing reasonably close to the accessory that we're pairing to HomeKit or Home Assistant, because the way the provisioning works with Matter is it uses Bluetooth to establish the initial connection from the phone to the accessory, and then that Bluetooth communication provides things like the Thread network credentials, etc., so that the device can join the Thread network and then establish that connection there. So that was integrating our Matter over Thread devices into Home Assistant, and as you can see, they're operating really, really well. Now with the Eve Energy and the Nanoleaf Matter over Thread bulbs, they didn't have a native Home Assistant integration at all. So the fact that we can now get these devices into Home Assistant using the Matter over Thread configuration and use Home Assistant to do some automations using sensors that would otherwise maybe not be available to us for automations through Apple Home or Google Home or any other system there is actually really, really great. Now, we don't have access to some of the additional features that we would normally have, such as the different light scenes that we have with the Nanoleaf app. They're not available through the Matter configuration. They're only available through the Nanoleaf app or through the scenes that Nanoleaf passes through to HomeKit, but that's quite all right. I'm actually fine with that, because realistically, at the end of the day, what I actually want to be able to do is control these Thread accessories from Home Assistant using something like a Zigbee button, because Zigbee and Thread, while they are a 2.4 gigahertz protocol and actually use a very similar radio protocol, they are different enough that Zigbee and Thread can't talk to each other without something in between, and Home Assistant can be that in between. The other great thing here, as I mentioned at the top and in the video about them, these Nanoleaf Essentials downlights, being that they are Matter over Thread, I can now use the motion and person detection from my driveway camera to trigger these lights to be on, which is going to give me a little bit more peace of mind when I'm leaving the car parked outside. I really do think that Matter is going to be a huge change and a big leap forward for the smart home in general. And being able to now integrate with these Matter over Thread accessories through Home Assistant is fantastic. I'm so glad that I now have most of my Thread border routers connected to the main Thread network, which is going to make it really robust. I've got 5 Thread border routers in my one network, and that means theoretically any one of those border routers could disconnect from the network, and because of the self-healing nature of Thread and Matter, it should just correct itself and everything will be just fine. As always, let me know your thoughts on adding Matter over Thread accessories into Home Assistant in the comments section below. That's all we have for this video, and I do hope that it's helped you in your home automation and smart home journey. Be sure to drop a comment below with home automation ideas that you'd like to see me cover in a future video, and don't forget to follow HiveMind Automation on Instagram and Facebook. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button down below to give it a like, and if you're not already subscribed, now's a really great time to change that. While you're at it, if you hit the bell icon as well, you'll start getting notifications when I release new videos, which is normally each week. Lastly, if you enjoy what I do here and you want to support the channel, there's a Buy Me a Coffee link in the video description below. Any contribution you make through Buy Me a Coffee does get put towards making more and hopefully better content for you to enjoy. Don't forget to check out my website, hivemindautomation.com.au. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Stu from HiveMind Automation, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.